Beachside Tech Talk. That's what it's called over here. We're at 1340 a.m. KOMY, Home of Schoolhouse Radio. We're here in the Monterey Bay. I forgot the name of our own show. This is a big day today because today we have Nigel physically in the studio.
We do.
We're so happy to have you here, my friend.
Yeah, you're so happy. Like, I think had you mess up the name of the show.
Just looking at you face to face, it got me all confused.
I'm so smiley. It's really interesting to be someplace that you've only seen on the internet
every day for 2 months.
I was like, wow, there's real people.
Right.
I met Christian. I was like, oh wow, it's a live and breathe. It's
This thing was built in 1947. So much history here at the studio. It's wild. And where you're staying, you can actually see their radio tower.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm fascinated that, we're on the beach.
We're on the beach.
On the beach.
We are on the beach. The thing is on the lagoon, touching the sand. This is the real deal. This is the beachside tech talk for a reason.
See, people didn't know that. I told someone that, and like, that's a cute name. I was like, oh, it's on the beach. They go, oh.
I've thought about using one of the cameras of the view here, or even just using one of the cameras at my house, which is about a mile from here, and actually showing the beach. But I haven't done that yet. Maybe we'll do that in the near future. So for those that are tuning in here, whether it's online, because we do live stream, my name is Ian Utilities. We live stream at IANUTILE. That's where I'm at everywhere. So if that's of interest, you can watch us or you can listen on the radio. We're happy to have the audience here with us and thankful for that. So what we do here at Beachside Tech Talk is we talk about what's happening in AI, in crypto, blockchain world, anything around automation. And there's always like major updates and news that happen every single day. So it's easy. So since there's so much going on, we do break it down into different industries. So on Mondays, we've been talking about community and philanthropy. We usually have Ted Haas, who's my chief of ethics. He's kind of the in-house philanthropic dude that builds community, but all of us certainly understand that as well. So it'd be fun to talk a bit about it. That's the first segment. Then we transition over, and our second segment is on the future. Hey, what could be? Where can this stuff actually go? How far will this stuff take us? So good morning, son.
Hi, Dad. It's good to see you.
You too. Anything on your mind when it comes to using automation and technology for community? Anything you've seen or read or heard that you want to share with us in the audience?
I think this morning I was really wowed by the fact that you can create almost whatever you want in relation to like a game or something like that. Like people are coming up with a short idea like, okay, you make a little shooter game that's like pixel art and you throw in a bunch of different AI stuff related. And then you just give that idea to ChatGPT or to another AI. And it can just make some kind of big, broader idea for you. And then you can just take that and go further into like the different coding AIs. And it's just like amazing. Like I keep seeing all these posts of people who just in like a week, they've made an entire video game. And it's crazy because now, and video games is just one niche, but you've gotten to the point now where people can make whatever they want that they've always wanted to. And it's so much easier than it used to be, where you used to have to hire a whole team or do all this stuff. And now you can just have your idea and just make it happen.
What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
When I think about community, I think about this room. And I think about how everyone I know in this room and how that came together. So it's less about the technology and it's more about the people. But what I will say for the technology to dovetail into what Malachi was saying is this. I would strongly recommend that, to quote Ian's visionary view of life, ask AI, what is the most incredible thing anyone who had no experience in something has ever done in whatever you're interested in? Just so you understand what's possible. And I can speak from firsthand experience. The only reason I ever was able to elevate from working at corporations, big ones, to consulting for those same corporations. Like, here's your company, I'm giving you money, is because someone told me what was possible. Because I couldn't fathom that they were making, basically, I didn't get a raise because they didn't have the money. Then they hired 2 people at double my salary. So that just made my brain glitch. So asking one of those people and being fortunate enough, because no one owes you anything, for them to tell me what was possible, I was like, oh, really? Watch this.
Yeah.
And inside of a year or 2, it felt like magic when I was there. It wasn't. It was work, and it took time, and I was studying 6 hours a day, and I was putting the work in. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm saying if you start with what's possible, Stephen Covey, start with the end in mind.
Yep.
I think you build community that way, because then, meeting Ian online, didn't even have a picture. Him saying, I have this product, could do anything. I say, really? Well, let's test that theory. And back and forth and back and forth. And here I am now.
Whatever it is you want to do, my product does it for you.
And I really tested that out.
Yes, you did. Thousands of times.
It's amazing having that vision of what can happen. And especially when you realize that it's possible, because it's easy to be like, oh yeah, I heard that story of that one person, but that's not me. But then when you realize that can be me, that will be me, and then you decide that it's going to be you. And then it just happens, because when you know that you're able to do something, you're going to work towards it.
Keep asking why not. I think it's one of the biggest opportunities that I see between our generations, because for the longest time, it was like this is the way things are done. And then newer generations, younger blood comes in and they go, why do I need to do that? We hadn't even considered that. We just kind of were going with the flow. So sometimes those challenges of why not are super important. That's what I think.
What are your thoughts, Brother Dan?
Oh, good morning.
Everybody.
Good morning. AI, most wonderful thing in the world. I love it.
It loves you.
Yeah, it does. I find myself trying to use it all the time. So I think that it's a great thing. It's bringing our communities together. It's a wonderful thing. You can find friendships and outside of your front door. So I think it's great.
Well, talk about outside our front door. There is a update that was just released this weekend on the Community Foundation in Santa Cruz County. So this was picked up by Lookout, which is a top publication, and a couple others. So it was big enough to get some actual press. So what they've done is any immigrant serving nonprofit, that's who they're kind of focused on, that type of nonprofit right now, the donation workflow using AI. And so they believe this is going to make their wellness programs 20% more efficient. So this means, like, let's just take our friends at Community Bridges. So this is like a community nonprofit. They serve immigrants. They have things for Meals on Wheels. They have Liftline. They have all sorts of things for education, taking care of kids. They have all these different groups. So the hope that Community Foundation of Santa Cruz has is that Community Bridges, and all their dozen or so different organizations, that they will be 20% more effective with wellness programs. Now, that might mean that they can operate on an 80% budget, or that might mean that they can serve 20% more people. But Santa Cruz County really depends on just that one organization alone. Community Bridges kind of holds our society together in so many ways because it's so large and serves so many people. So that was kind of a cool thing to see come up recently. Another one is a local AI initiative for Santa Cruz, which is integrating Web3. So this is a Web3 AI, and it's all about transparent donor matching. So the reason for that is right now, when people give money, we have no idea where the money goes. And so there's a big initiative to say, let's leverage AI and distributed ledgers so we can prove exactly who gave, how much they gave, where the money went, and that way we can actually not just tell the donor, but tell everybody. So that way when people say, hey, what's happening with the $100,000 or the $10 million you guys just brought in from our local community or from this federal grant. What's happening with that money? They can say, oh, look, it's right here. It's on a public database. That's what a blockchain is. It's a public database. Think of Excel spreadsheet, except for the whole world can see it. Nobody can change it. It can never be edited or modified. It's a public ledger. That's what crypto is. So that's kind of cool. Those are some cool things that are happening new that just hit the news. And of course, there's all sorts of stuff that happens all around Central California and beyond. Right now, California has an AI philanthropy roadmap, and it's highlighting NGOs. And so California says that what they're doing in Monterey and Fresno areas might actually make them 40% more efficient. So here is one group that's local, says we're going to have 20% greater efficiency. And here's another one that's regional that says we're going to have 40% greater efficiency. So whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter if it's 10% or 60%. The reality is there's hope that the current technology as it is right now will help with anything around philanthropy, anything around giving and showing that. So, all of us have given money to different organizations, and sometimes we've given money to the same organization for a decade or longer. I mean, how many of us have sponsored a Compassion International child? And then we build a relationship with this kid over in a different country, or maybe you do it through a different arm. Compassion is one that kind of comes to mind. And so, you get the letter and the pictures, and you watch the kid grow up, and you write them letters, and they write back to you, and you're supporting them. You're helping them have meals and housing and food, and you're helping them have, all the thing for education. So up until now, you're just kind of counting on Compassion being an ethical company. When you sponsor a kid, the money's really going to that kid. And when you write a letter, the kid really sees the letter. And when the kid writes you a letter and sends you photographs, that's actually the kid doing it. And it's not just some big, kind of scheme to get money from Americans or developed nation people, Europe, et cetera, places where people have additional income and want to help. And so now when you think about AI tools and these distributed ledgers be able to prove, hey, if you support this kid, not for a month, not for a year, but for an entire childhood. If you take this 4-year-old and you walk with this kid and you write letters and receive letters every season, every month, and you start saying you're $29, you're $49 a month, every single month, and you do it for a decade. You do it for 15 years. We're going to show you on a public Excel sheet that can never be changed, that has double verification when we input everything, exactly what's happening to your money. And this is where things become very personal, right? When you give money to anything, we want to see our money be used for good. So what's your guys' thoughts on how you envision AI being used in these ways, how you envision public databases, public Excel spreadsheets that we call blockchain and Web3 being used in these ways? What comes to mind, Nigel?
Immediately what comes to mind, and it goes back to the same conversation we were having around what Malachi had said, is this. We know people are advertising now, good for them, 20%, 40%. What I see is holding our elected officials to a higher standard. Mm-hmm. You want a job? I'll give you a job. I want to see, when I audit, I want to see something that's provable, not any fancy bookkeeping. Show me the blockchain ledger. This will likely, or I feel like it could, surge adoption because it's an easy way to prove where the money is going from an audit perspective. And like I've been seeing, and I believe it's going to elevate the level of conversations and accountability that we see in other areas. And I feel like things like school projects and our younger people with a lot more energy can push those narratives because they already kind of have, but it will give them the tools to not have to do that extra grunt work. Let me see the books. They're public, right? Shouldn't I be able to see this on a blockchain? Well, it's a lot of paperwork. Why? Why is it a lot of paperwork? Put it on a blockchain. Wouldn't be as much paperwork, don't you think? Reasonable, fair questions, but it's also tied to a metric that any citizen can go. And I think as we go further into where AI is using up so much energy and resources, I cannot say this enough. That's translating into real money. I don't think we could be this irresponsible. Sure, it's wonderful. But back to what I said before, what is the best you could do? Not the least, not the wild, great, amazing. What is the best? that can be done here? What is your best, my best, his best, Kenton's best? What's the best that we could do? Challenge ourselves to do that and just, really lean into that a little bit. And I think we will find the actual best utilitarian purposes for this technology.
I want to ask, because it's the kind of thing where it's like, yes, obviously, best idea ever, make the government decentralized and not decentralized, but so that it's on the blockchain so that we can see everything. But how do you get the people in the government to accept that? Because then that means they have to now be more transparent. They have to have something that they might not want if we're thinking that there's a reason we need this to be shown to all of us and transparent. And so how do you get someone like that, some big group that in a way kind of just accepts that they don't really want everyone to know everything? How do you get them to not be like, yeah, no, we're citizens and we're telling you have to? Like, how do you get that to happen?
By making it non-negotiable. I think of course they don't want it to happen. Think about this. For anybody, transparency is probably one of the most difficult things to achieve. The closer you get to it, the stronger the relationship. I don't think any of us truly have, I'll put it to you in even a better way. As a person of faith, one who believes, I think the only transparent relationship we have is with God. God sees everything. What's the point in hiding it? If you believe God sees everything, knows the thoughts before they're coming into your mind, who can you think of on earth that you have even remotely that kind of transparency with? It's tough. But I also feel that it doesn't have to be boil the ocean or drink from the fire hose. It could be, how about we take one nonprofit in Santa Cruz, make that the flagship, make that the gold standard, pour into them every bit of support. So where they have no excuse, and just take that one example and use that as the blueprint, the framework to continue moving it forward. And then, like yourself, like your brother, like Danny, like me, like Ian, put the weight behind that. Put the weight behind one thing and keep that momentum going. And just keep asking, why not? Because those people will fall off. They'll just fall off. You keep saying, why not? You voted for this 20 times. It's not good for our environment. Why am I voting for you? Nothing personal. It's just what the data says. It's there. So let's, do that. And it's not about, shaming or blaming anybody. Let's just focus on doing better. Let's just do that. Not talking about what the other guy did. What are you doing? Before we even get to, what Malachi did, or what Kenton did, or what Nigel did? What is Nigel doing? Nigel did this, he did that, he did the other thing. Focus on that. Stay in that lane, and I think we'll get there. But it starts with non-negotiable. It starts with that one example.
I feel like one of the struggles in humanity as being a human is that when you have some X thing that we all want to change. Say, for example, everybody wants food to be healthy, but it's not just going to happen. You'd have to get every person, something that could be one of those things. You have to get every person in the world to just vote for it. Like, say we all want a third party in the US. Yeah, everybody just vote for it. But no, because then what if only half people vote for it and then the other guy wins? It's that idea of everybody has to do it to make it happen, but it's hard to get everybody coherent. With those types of problems, how do you tackle that kind of issue in relation to all this blockchain stuff?
Patience. So real life example, it would be something like this. You pick something that you're super interested in. You have resources, people, and you're like, I want to go to the nth degree on figuring this stuff out. And one by one, you get petitions, you do change.org. True story. Through Ian, I met Adam Shire, co-founder of Siri. I'm not popular or viral or anything, but I asked him a question on a show. He answered, and then he followed me, and I followed him. It was an amazing experience, but he mentioned to me change.org. And It's just where you go online and you put something out there. This is what I want to see the change. And it gives people an ability to just pile on. Because I think if you're motivated enough and you have the patience and the goal truly is to get the result, time doesn't matter. And people figure that out. Mm-hmm. You ever hear this in a movie or someplace else? Someone says, oh, this guy's not going away, or this gal's not going away.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do the thing you think that will get it there. You just have to make it clear that you're not going away, that you believe in it strongly enough that it's still going to be there. So it may take a year, it may take 2 years, but the more time compounds great.
Yeah, it all starts off just a small conversation like this, and then someone on the live stream or on the radio hears, and they're like, you know what, I agree. And then they tell someone, and then they also agree, and then they tell their friend, and they tell their kids, and now their kid is going around and telling kids at school. And then slowly over time, which doesn't have to be slow, it can be a week and a half or a month, and then you have 100 people in a small town who've all now decided, oh wait, blockchain stuff is actually pretty useful. We should see how we can get this into our ecosystem and our community. And it all starts small, but when you have conversations like this, that's how you really get it done.
You know, a lot of nonprofit organizations that are dependent upon people's charity and philanthropy that are usually focused on building and maintaining and kind of growing and scaling and sustaining a community. They'll think like, well, let's take Bitcoin. Now we're Web3. Ooh, we're going to take Ethereum. We're going to take the Dogecoin. There's many other things that are happening today. So let me give you another example that's kind of been highlighted over the weekend. GiveRep, GIVEREP, and this is just picked up in philanthropy.com. GiveRep is now saying that philanthropy through crypto is $500 million annual. That's the projection they have. And one of their big things is enabling staking for causes. So let's say that you buy USDC, which is Coinbase's version of a dollar, of a digital dollar. Tether has USDT. Let's just stick with USDC. If you buy $10,000 of USDC, you're just basically transferring $10,000 from your bank account or whatever it is over to a digital bucket. They will give you 4% if you buy it and you hold it. It's called a staking fee. There were times where companies would give 10+% annual APR against staking your Ethereum, staking your Bitcoin, right? Now, why would they give you a percentage? Because when you stake it, you're basically it's no longer your keys. You're now putting your crypto asset into somebody else's, vault and saying, okay, you can have it in your vault. You do whatever you want with my crypto. I want 10% and I want to be able to get it anytime I want. Now, this hasn't always worked out, as we've seen with things like FTX and Celsius and others. Nevertheless, if a philanthropic organization props up an ability for you to stake Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDC with them, and you say, yeah, I have money and I don't want to give money to you, but I'll let you basically put my money in your vault. And by you putting my money in your vault, you can then work with these big, humongous institutions to get a 5-10+% APR, potentially, right? Depending on the times. And so this is a really interesting way of leveraging crypto for that. We'll be back very soon to talk a bit about the future, what it holds for us in this regard. Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, Internet, I hope you're well. I got about 3 minutes, so I'm going to chit chat with you. We have been doing kind of the same thing over the last few weeks. And that is on Mondays, we do community and philanthropy. On Tuesdays, we get into education and apprenticeship. Wednesdays, business and finance. Thursdays is news and media. And Fridays is art and entertainment. I've thought about changing it up. I've thought about spreading it out. Obviously, there's lots of options. So from time to time, I'll get DMs with some feedback. Please do send a DM my way. Let me know kind of what your thoughts are on all this. We do have a big update that we'll be announcing toward the end of the week. We're going to go from 1 hour, 11 to 12 Pacific time to doing 2 hours. Start doing 2 hours, which will be 12 to 2 Pacific time. I'll be live streaming from here Monday through Thursday. Dan and Nigel will take Fridays. And then, I'll probably try and start doing more Beachside Tech Talk stuff outside of the radio hour as well. Whether that's a couple minutes riding on my one wheel and having a little Beachside Tech Talk thought, or I'm trying to find a way to attach a phone. I can live stream from my paddleboard because I've been paddleboarding a lot lately. That'd be kind of fun. Take the internet on a paddleboard journey and talk a bit about what my thoughts are. I find myself in a flow state often when I exercise, paddleboard, one wheel, go play disc golf. All the things in the brain start firing off. All of a sudden, things start to make sense. And it's nice to have an outlet, whether somebody watches live, like many of you are now. Thank you for your attention, or watch the archive later in an hour or in a day or in a week or further from then. And for those in the future, I know you're there. Thanks for tuning in. And so, I'm always open to feedback. So if you have feedback on like, hey, we'd love to see this, or have you considered that? As we transition to 2 hours, we'll have these 4-minute breaks, which is what we do from the 30-minute to 34-minute. We do that during the hour. And then now we'll have a new 12-minute break from basically 55 to 06. And so this gives us more opportunity to do more things online. Obviously, when we go live in a minute, my focus is on the air. Making sure that we're thoughtful about the audience that we have here in Monterey Bay and Santa Cruz County and beyond with 1340 AM KOMY. And when we're off air and the commercials are running, it gives me a chance to kind of just talk to you directly. But I recognize that, with an extra segment of time, I may be able to share some more things that I don't usually get to. So I'm looking forward to that. I have a few ideas. And I think it'll be fun to be able to share that stuff with all of you. I'm putting these back on, kind of getting ready to go live again, listening to the radio. Another thing is we're going to put some emphasis on how we can provide opportunity for local organizations in Santa Cruz to jump in and participate with the attention that KOMY has, and some opportunity for people to partner with us here through our live stream. And so I'll be rolling that out in the next few days. We've been figuring things out, and I want to make sure that we were set with our time. I didn't want to move on any of these ideas until I was sure that we were going to be 11 to 12, or we're going to take the 12 to 2 slot, which we are. So now that we have that stuff settled, I'm going to be thinking through like, hey, how do we create opportunity for other people to the greatest extent? So that's another thing that'll be coming. But always feel free to interact with me, with us. Please let us know what comes to mind. And, I've had friends reach out and say, hey, I want to be on the radio with you. So that's also a possibility. Obviously, we bring in Nigel from the East Coast most of the time. We're ready to rock and roll. Let me reconnect my audio. Welcome back to Beachside Tech Talk. This is 1340 AM KOMY, and we're grateful to have your attention. This is a fun time for me. I'll always enjoy hitting the news, but my favorite thing is talking about the future. What can happen for AI? What can happen for blockchain, the Web3 crypto world? What can happen with these large language models and all the things that are going on when it comes down to the future with community and philanthropy? I remember when I was speaking at events in 2017, 18, 19, I was really involved with Adam, from the founder of Siri, the founder of Samsung Bixby, the founder of Airbnb's new AI, and he also founded change.org. And he also was on Penn and Teller as a magician. The dude is one of my favorite people. I like Adam a lot. I'm thankful to have a friendship with him. And I was spending time with him and the Amazon Alexa team, the Google Assistant team. So a lot of my focus at that time was around speaking to AI. And I was convinced 7-8 years ago that everything with technology was going to be tied to Web3 tech, to basically ensure that it's trustworthy, transparent, immutable, can't be changed, that people are given the text built for the people by the people, and that we were going to talk to computers, they were going to talk to us. And I would talk about the future, like one day, and I would explain what was going to be. And now all the things that I was talking about 7-8 years ago are now in place.
Crazy. It's so easy to see things that are like this big vision. It's like, oh, that's awesome. It'll happen one day. It'll happen one day. But then it happens now. We're like, wait. I'm actually like talking to my device right now. Like it's talking back to me. This is so cool.
Well, there's two types of, the tech world might call these folks futurists. The religious world might call them prophets, whatever term you want to use. But there's two types of people that kind of talk about the future. There's those that look at history and then the data today, and they say, okay, based on what's happened, nothing new is under the sun. Based on the rhythms of what happens, based on where we're at today, here's what I predict in the future. And I got to do some of that because I was in the industry. I was doing all these events, so I could see what was going on. I'd hear the stories of what happened 2 years ago, 20 years ago. I'd look at the history like, okay, where could this be going? So I'd like have some scientific based prediction. But a lot of what I've done is the other kind of futurist type thing, which is where you're trying to basically create the future, right? You're using your words to speak forth what could be. It stirs people's emotions and thought, and now they start thinking through the world in that regard. It's like, oh, wow, you mean one day, I'll be able to talk to Siri or Alexa, and I'll say, make me a website for my new business idea, buy me the domain, spin up the social media sites, put it all live, and then go through my cell phone and invite every single person that's within driving distance to me to my Eventbrite page for my business opening. And it's all done in 30 seconds. Like I speak and it's done. Like that's basically what Lindy AI and ChatGPT's advanced agent and Grok Super Heavy 4 is doing. That's what these things are doing now. They are basically creating an opportunity for people just to speak. Lovable is another app. Lovable is called GPT Engineer. And they already have helped spawn like countless new businesses just by people talking to a machine. It used to be said that ideas mean nothing. Execution is everything. But because work, especially white collar work, the coding, the designing, all the things around strategy, business consulting, all that stuff is now commoditized. So we no longer need to go hire some high-paid $300 an hour, $1,000 an hour consultant. We don't have to go hire some graphic designer that wants to be paid a reasonable rate. We don't have to hire a handful of coders and developers to build us something. We literally go online, we talk to the machine, we tell it what we want, and it makes it for us. So now ideas have become much more important. Clear, succinct, focused, strategic ideas that can be easily articulated to a machine and then have a conversation back and forth to get the end result that we want. And I think it's going to be fascinating how communities are built and how nonprofits and NGOs and, organizations that serve humanity are able to leverage these different things. So that's my thought. That's what I'm excited about when I think about these tools being used. I'm excited to see that things that have been predicted in the past have now manifested, and I wonder how much better is this stuff going to get. Dan, what's on your mind when it comes to the future of AI, crypto across community and philanthropy?
Awesome. Well, I'll let you know what's on my mind. So Santa Cruz has a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that has a meetup that they do every month. The next one's going to be on August 20th, and it's going to be downtown Santa Cruz. The venue is still to be determined, but you can look this up online or you can AI it. They're going to be focusing basically on decentralized identity, privacy, crypto economics, and blockchain for civil resilience. This matters because the meetup draws activists, developers, and scholars to a one base area, and it's ideal for connecting with people that are building real world Web3 tools. Also, I'm just learning that downtown Santa Cruz Library, every Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, has a website building applications, and it's basically an all community add-in. It's to get ourselves interested in this new technology that we keep talking about day to day. So every Wednesday through August in downtown Santa Cruz Public Library, your host will be Greg Jorgensen. He's going to be doing Web3 and decentralization library sessions. We've been talking about these words that are a little bit maybe intermediate for, in other words, maybe people need to really kind of be in the Web3 or crypto era. And I feel that these libraries are taking free advantages to build community, show them some basic grassroots, ground level instructions on how they can start engaging in these new Web3 and AI applications. But not only that, I feel that them coming together in a community foundation, in a community environment, that's the big win. So, you know, a lot of us are doing this at home. We're with our devices. And so we tend to be sort of isolated and kind of, we like it that way. We like figuring things out. And as we make mistakes, no one sees them. No one knows what we're doing. So we can boo-boo all day long and, you know, figure out where we're going on our device. But I think that I'll probably be showing up to one of these events next month just to check it out myself, because I don't want to talk about it. I actually want to go see it and see what's going on. But I think it's a great thing, finally finding something, and that what a great opportunity for people to come out, go to their downtown library. It's free. You have a person who's actually taken interest and is giving their time away to help their community learn these new processes. And instead of feeling isolated and left out, maybe join together, and afterwards you're going to maybe see some friends that you didn't know were down there. It'll be downtown. Think about maybe having a cup of coffee and maybe utilizing some of the tools and things that maybe you learned that day. Talk more about them, because slow growth is still growth, and we're all going there in the same direction anyway. So there you have it. Good information. Use it as best you can.
Yeah, I've been to several of those. And I've been able to speak at some of them. It's always nice to gather people together. You know, one thing about community in this industry is that these industries, AI, crypto, bring community together. And so, you know, oftentimes Santa Cruz has talked about like, oh, we have such good, music opportunities. There's always a bunch of live bands. I mean, I live in Capitol Village. There's like a live band, 1, 2, sometimes 3 live bands a day. There's all these different events. We just had the Wharf to Wharf. That's a big deal for this local area. And so we have lots and lots and lots of amazing things go on. But another thing that happens locally is community getting together around these different technologies. And I think that is a big deal for a lot of people, because people, you find your purpose when you find your people. And if you find a community that you really feel like you belong to, and they belong to you and you belong to them, all of a sudden things start to open up for us. So Malachi, what's your thought on where this technology goes? How do you imagine AI and crypto playing out across community and philanthropy over the course of the next year, next decade, and beyond?
I think right now I'm thinking a lot about the brain interface things that are happening, where you can put a brain chip in and then you're able to communicate literally just by thought or just by speaking, and then it goes straight into your device. And I think this kind of stuff will tie into AI, and it's kind of weird to think that we're almost getting to this like cyborg
Would
age.
you do that, Malachi?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
It sounds like you're like interested in it. Like it's.
I'm just interested to see where these kinds of things go. Because
but you wouldn't be, maybe wait 10, 20 years and
I would wait because
let the mistakes
happen. I kind of value my squishy little brain.
Right.
So I want to wait.
Others first.
Well, there's other people who definitely want it more than me right now. But I just think I'm excited to see where these kinds of things go, and the ability to be like, because constantly we have thoughts in our head that you just didn't remember to write down, or you didn't remember to go do. And now this is going to be able to give us the chance, not just the brain stuff, but like the AI as well, to just, oh, yes, I love that group. I wanted to give them $10, $20. Okay, just send them that. There, done. Then you just keep talking to someone.
For sure.
It can become so easy to just have this like philanthropy or anything that you want. And then also to be like, oh, I just thought of a funny text I want to send to my friend. I love that guy. Okay, send that to him. And then bam, it's done. Like that's another community thing that can happen. And so I'm just excited to be able to see that these things can happen really quickly and easily. And it just makes life easier for us.
I think that's a great idea. The neural networks are awesome. I think we're leaning into that. I think it's going to take quite a little bit of time. I wouldn't be one to speculate a number, but we are having the great developments of prosthetics. I saw a couple of great documentaries that the professor at MIT who handles all of their tech and innovations department is a double prosthetic, double amputee. He was a great adventurer when he was young. He was a mountain and rock climber. And when he was 16, him and his friend, I think it was Mount Hood, Washington, they took an excursion and didn't really pay attention to the weather forecast. Didn't take the right clothes, no heavy jackets. They figured it was just a day, up and down, 6 hours, 8 hours. So they got stuck and they got lost also for days, like 4 days, I think it was. Just by chance, a wandering hunter had found them because there's no chance. They had wandered for a couple of days and literally got lost, not knowing where they were and where to go. So they stopped. And were freezing. They didn't have the clothes and they hugged together all night. But I don't want to try and make it too long. The MIT professor, and he's their biggest professor in tech, and he's doing a lot of the neurosciences that are out there. And because he is a double amputee.
How did he lose his limbs?
From frostbite. And
Whoa.
So did his partner. His partner lost his feet down to the ankles. But what happened with him was he got the frostbite so bad, and they took his feet off, and he had so much pain from the nerves that were still there that he just couldn't bear it. So they wind up taking him off right below the knees. But the point I'm trying to get to in this neural networks of this new AI and prosthetics and the tapping into your nerves. So before we go into the brain, they are doing it now. This is real world, and the professor of neuroscience at MIT is a double amputee, and so he had passion for this. What they're doing is, if they can find someone, or when a tragic accident happens, let's say a car wreck or something, and a person's legs get crushed, while they are going to have an immediate operation surgery performed, the hospital is informed and preparations are made for this patient to come in. And what they do is they methodically amputate these limbs, and they leave specific, they don't just cut anymore, cut through and bandage it up, and there you have it. They precisionally leave nerve endings and blood vessels and tissues that they are allowed to tie in these networks to.
Right.
Because before they were just cutting them and severing, so they were gone. So now this guy, the MIT professor who's passionate about this, when I saw the thing, he unfortunately will never be able to have this opportunity. It happened for him in the early 80s, and he had his legs amputated, and they were not able to save any of these sensitive networks of nerves, endings, ligaments, and things. So what we're doing now, and this is happening, this is not practice. If you can catch the injury in time, when you have the initial surgery, they save these endings and they tie in with a neural network, not for the brain, but it's just a sensor. And so in the documentary, they have a couple of case studies, and they're working on it. It's still very rudimentary, but because they were able to tie into those nerve endings that were saved, they're getting massive information from it. So the guy that they're doing on, he had just a little bit below the shoulder, and they leave 3 or 4 inches of the limb so they can use those nerve endings, slip a prosthetic on, and hook you up to a database, to a language model. And they tell this individual, okay, move your finger. He ain't got no finger. He's just got he senses and tells his brain, and that nub that he has in his shoulder, because they saved those endings and nerve tissues, are picking up a reading. And all it's doing on a computer screen is creating a data point, a picture, pixels, whatever it is. Pick anything you want, triangles, circle shapes, whatever that software is designed to do. It's picking up an image, and that image is noted down as, that's him moving his finger. Move your thumb. The same thing comes up, but it's a little bit different of a picture. Same, 85% same, but the little bit over there on one side was different. That's the thumb. And this gentleman is able to move his hands and fingers almost, it's rudimentary and it's first phase kind of thing, but he's able to actually move his fingers and hand, all elbow, wrist, turn fingers, thumbs, and all fingers in this prosthetic that is giving him like almost full range of motion. So sorry about the longevity of that, but I found it fascinating. And
that was so cool.
That's where we're going with it. And it's actually working. And it all comes from a brilliant man who loves his people enough to be passionate enough to build this system out. So there's a lot of benevolence that gives into it, a lot of grant work and fun work. So it'll take the time that it needs to take, but I found it absolutely amazing and a wonderful story. And that's where they're leading for the prosthetics and amputees.
This really makes me think a lot about the possibility of not just the human limbs that you usually have, getting them back, but like, what if you were able to have like 2 extra arms or have like an extra hand or something like that? I wonder if that's possible, or if it wouldn't be, because the way this works is based off what your brain previously knew of. But I'm just curious if it's able to kind of
why wouldn't it, like the guy just talked about with the arm? Why couldn't he had an arm that had a Y joint at the elbow and forked off into 2, so he had 2 wrists, 2 hands? And
well, I mean, the way they're doing it, it's just based off, okay, well, this is what my brain thinks when I'm trying to move my second hand. But you don't have a second hand when you're born, and so your brain doesn't have those nerve endings.
But your brain knows that it's there. That's how they're training this AI in prosthetics. It just created a picture of his thought. This is the new. It's like scientific. You tell someone, move your finger. How do you describe how you move your finger? Well, there is no description of it. Well, by nerve endings being touched and sensitive data points, and of course a screen that's picking up something is moving in there, and it's just a little shock. They're able to load that is the finger. Move your index finger, now move your middle finger, and they're showing up as slight variations. Those things are locked in, and so the guy had to come back for multiple. This is months later of constantly training this AI. But towards the end of the documentary, the guy is able to have 2 hands back, drink coffee, work a wrench. I mean, change a tire. It's like, whoa, it's no longer, I don't think it's a prosthetic. It's actually a new limb. And then back to the Oster Pistorius kind of thing. Wow. It's like, whoa, we're going to make these limbs that, first of all, don't worry about cutting them. Don't worry about slicing your wrist. Don't worry about, it got smashed, it got crushed. Oh, no problem. You got a backup in the closet. You know, another $5,000, you got another left arm. It's like, whoa. So guys are actually
so crazy.
And in that documentary, someone was having there was I think it was a diabetic or someone that was having to soon. He was able to prepare for like a year surgery later, but he's going to have to lose his legs. And he was able to get the surgery that the MIT professor was unable to get, because they were able to save his nerve endings and his limbs to tie into these neurological setups. And so it's all based off of a brain, and it's firing patterns that we haven't been able to figure out. Your brain is just so amazing, but they're invisible things that are going on in your head that you can't really touch, synapses and thought processes. And these things are actually digital and able to be translated rudimentary in a beta, just from a screen of it looks like a QR code. A QR, imagine a QR code. They're all so different. The QR code came up and you can't really tell the difference, but that little tiny thing, that was the difference between your thumb, your pinky, your wrist bending. And it seems like they are on a path to really finding bionics.
Amazing.
What an inspiring conversation.
I want some legs.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard, here at 1340 a.m. KOMY, Homo Schoolhouse Radio.